What's up, boys?
Hello. Welcome,
Hey.
everyone. Welcome to the third Metabreakers podcast. Today we have a special guest. His name is FunkiMonki. He is not up. He is to my left. Yes.
Yeah, you're
or
pointing
my
the right way.
right on the screen. Yes. FunkiMonki is a special Hearthstone streamer. What he does is he builds his own deck all the time. So most of us that play copy pasta decks, this is not that person. Funky specializes in theory crafting decks and making homebrews. So we figured he would be a perfect guest to talk about this right before we go into the new expansion. Yeah.
Welcome,
yeah, absolutely. Thanks for the introduction, and glad to be here.
Pleasure to have you, man.
Yeah.
So the first thing we wanted to talk about today, just to get right into it, was the new rank system. What do you guys think? How do you like it, D-Money?
Ooh, soloing out me. All right. Yeah, I've been playing it a decent amount. Seems like it's very easy to get to Legend, which I don't really like, especially if you were already Legend last season. Sorry, one sec.
Did you have 11 stars?
Yeah, I had 11 bonus stars, so even when I was in Diamond, I still had 2 bonus stars all
Easy
the way to
mode.
Legend, so I had 2 shots at the final boss, which was pretty insane. Never heard of. This is the first time ever.
Pretty
Yeah,
nuts.
I think it's just too easy to get to Legend if you were already Legend, and I don't like that. I mean, sure, you should be able to get to Legend again, but I like the whole grind. That's part of the fun there, I think.
I didn't have 11 stars. I had 10. So the final grind was still like actually a grind.
Was
But-
it? So when
Now,
do you
what is
lose
exactly the cutoff between 10 to 11 stars? Because I believe they both happen within Legend, correct? It's just a matter of like what Legend rank you are.
Yes. So like if you're really high up, like D-Money was at the end of the month, but I wasn't because I was only top 400 evidently. You get 11 stars, but if you're in the 4 to like, I guess you've less MMR and ranked, then you get 10 stars. So then your Legend grind is still a 1-star grind right at the end.
You know, and I would think like 400 would be pretty high Legend to me.
Yeah,
Do
Yeah.
we know exactly what that cutoff is, or is it pretty vague?
It's MMR based, so then that's the only answer you ever get on it. So
Yeah, they don't specify anything. Yeah.
So you think it's high ranked enough, but evidently not. They want you to play another 20 games to get there. So, but it's interesting. Certainly interesting
Yeah,
how
I
the
mean,
MMR works.
I like the whole look of the rank system. It looks really nice. So I'm excited to see what portrait I have like for my new rank when I rank up. But besides that, yeah, I mean I'm grinding on Europe right now with 10 stars, and it still seems pretty easy. You know, the thing was when I was grinding on NA, I had the 11 bonus stars, and the first day I was grinding, I lost so many games. So many games. I had such a bad win rate, and it didn't even matter. I just did well on day 2, and I got there no problem. So I don't like the fact that you don't really get punished for losing. Like, you get so many bonus stars for winning, but nothing really. You just lose the 1 star for losing.
Do
I
you
don't think it
like
really
getting
makes sense.
punished for losing? Is that what you're insinuating? You like feeling like there's more
I
of
mean,
a
I like a
detriment?
challenge. I like a challenge. Yeah.
Do you think that they purposely designed the system to allow more players into Legend? Whether it be maybe that feel good moment of like, somebody accomplished something of getting into Legend. Do you think that they just wanted to make Legend more competitive to allow more people into Legend, so that way Legend's more competitive? Do you think that was their design?
I don't think it works that way entirely. It seems like the people that haven't gotten Legend before, that were like struggling with getting there and prior, still have like a pretty intense grind. Like they run out of their star bonus around like before they get to diamond rank even. So you have to go 1 win at a time for like 15 ranks to get there. And that kind of sucks. Right.
I think there was like
Yeah.
2,000 people in Legend after like the first 2 days or 3 days, which is pretty crazy.
That is insane.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did we
Warshack
all
was
end there
this-
though? Like from the previous
I'm
one?
not sure. Probably.
So what I've like I took a couple stat classes, and basically they front loaded like how so all the players who are currently legend aren't new players that have never been legend before. Like D-Money said, they all got that huge star bonus, and they got there really quick. So the amount of legend players right now that we see is inflated because, like I said, it's all front loaded. The people who actually have never hit legend are still out there grinding, and if they happen to do really well this season, next month they'll be that much more ahead with the new bonus, right? So it's just like based on how much you play is how much more you get the next month. So it's not necessarily like a daily, like this is what I've gotten now. With this MMR system, you have like this sort of like monthly, like, oh, okay, I did really well last month. That's going to propel me to do really well this month. And then also I think they're focusing on not necessarily like they don't want players who hit legend to have like a rough time getting to legend, because the whole point is once you're in legend, you need that top, what is it, 100 D-Money in order to start getting those points for tournaments.
I mean, I think it's only top 16 that matters anymore. But
okay, so getting the players to like legends so they can fight for that top 16 is like the utmost priority for the competitive scene, right? So I mean, they're just kind of propelling you guys to get there faster so you can start actually playing at the ranks that matter for you. And they don't want you sitting around, you know, rank 5, rank 4, rank 2, rank 1 for, you know, a week or two. They don't need you to be there. They want you to be legend. They know you've hit legend. That's why they gave you so many bonus stars, right?
I mean, sure. I don't know. It just felt way too easy.
Maybe you're just way too good.
Competitive of a player. No, I mean, I honestly like. I lost so many games on the first day. I rage quit after like 15 games, and I came back the next day. I had like an 80% win rate, and I got there in like 20 games or so. Like it was just so freaking easy. Like if you go on a win streak, you're gonna get there so quickly.
So you're saying like all you need is like one lucky win streak and then you're there.
Yeah, pretty much. Like I understand your point, Warshack, and that's true. Like some people have been saying, like the real grind starts when you get to legend, and like yes, that's true too. But I don't know. I like the whole journey.
Are you guys both 10 stars, Funky and Warshack? Was that the bonus that you got going into the?
Yeah, I got 10 stars.
Okay.
Yeah, it was me too.
Yeah. I think the 11 star, it would like I saw Pizza wrote the same thing when he got legend, that feeling like you have 2 chances to beat the final boss to get to legend feels like a little bit diminishing of what it. But I didn't really get like I failed on the final boss like 3 times and still had to win like over my amount of losses to get through, and it still felt pretty authentic hitting it this month, even though I still hit it way sooner than I usually do. Like I don't usually get there on the 3rd day. That's definitely like, yeah, I felt like because since the wall's at 5, and even if you have 10 stars to the point where you lose 1 and then gain 1 to get there, it's still less wins, right? It's 15. That's like the same thing as getting to rank 2 from 5.
Wait, so when does the bonus star go away? If you have the 10 bonus stars, do you lose it at Diamond 5?
Yeah, at Diamond 5, it turns into the old legend.
Okay.
So with 11 stars, you get 2 stars at Diamond 5?
Yep.
Oh, you damn dirty cheaters. I didn't know that. I thought it all
I don't even want that.
I thought it all went back down to 1 star when it goes Diamond 5. I thought that was the purpose. 11 stars was just giving you an extra bonus stars so you could climb the other ranks. I didn't realize you get 2 stars at Diamond 5. What the heck? What in tarnation? I'm throwing Macau in here. This is unfair. Unreasonable advantage.
You gotta call the dumpster at the end of the month,
right now.
For the
Catch me outside.
Well, I mean, we don't know if like it's if you peak at the high ranks, if you get the 11 stars, or if you finish at they really didn't tell us anything about it, so I have no idea. I mean, I think I finished like 220 or something like that.
I think there's a problem with the legend point system. I think more people need to be mad about it. Like, I think that needs to happen as well. I know I vented about this to you guys earlier, but just to tell everyone else, I got into Legend 320 when I won, and then I won 4 games in a row, and then I was like Legend 290, which felt very anticlimactic after winning 4 games in a row. Usually that would get me like pretty close to being pretty high up, and then I lost a game and fell back 50 points, and then I took a break. And then I came back a day later, and I was 150 points behind where I was at like over 500. And I felt pretty bad about that. It was like I won a whole bunch of games, I got there, and then I fell back hundreds of ranks. I don't know how that worked, but it's the MMR system. That's what we agreed on. But
I haven't experienced anything crazy like that. I mean, if anything, it's just like been like 15 to 20 ranks per win/loss for me, but that is pretty devastating after winning. So like after having such a good win rate like that.
I was just like, I'm not gonna play. Yeah, not until like an expansion right now, because there's no point in like having extra pain for losing in points and actually nothing winning, really, like 10 points or something. So I don't know.
Yeah, don't get to legend, guys. All right.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
No,
that
but-
can be my excuse.
There's actually there's another interesting thing with the new rank system. So you can only see the person that you're playing against, their rank, if you're in legend.
Super weird.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
So if you're not in legend, you can't see the rank of your opponent.
Oh, I thought that was a bug.
That's
No.
a legit thing right now that they have not disclosed any information on.
But
How do you guys feel about that?
it's definitely happening. I noticed that too. The second I got there, I'm like, why am I now? I notice I'm playing like a Diamond 1, 2. I've even gotten as low as to play a Diamond 9 when I was at
Well, I
Legend.
mean, I've played against silver players, honestly, and
That's-
that's because that's their new hidden MMR system, where like you're playing against the same people that you were playing against last season. So like at your rank last season when you finished.
Yeah, I get
Even
it.
if they're in silver, like it does make sense, but it's just I don't know. It feels really weird that I don't know why you wouldn't be able to see your opponent's rank if you're not in legend. I don't know.
Yeah, it's definitely weird.
Yeah, at first I thought that everybody had like their streamer mode enabled, and after like 5 people, I'm like, all right, this cannot be a coincidence. Like this many people cannot have streamer mode turned on.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll probably announce it. I mean, they loaded all the Ashes of Outland stuff on, like, seemed like a week early to tack on the prologue and everything without doing an actual update. So usually they correct these kind of bugs as they happen. I imagine this.
Well, I don't
will
think
be
it's
something.
a bug.
I think it's intentional.
Yes, but I just wish they.
What would be the intent, right? Like, why would
Well,
they not want you to know? who
They
you're
don't want you to
playing?
know because if you're a silver player and you get matched up with a legend player, they don't want you to know you're facing a legend player because then that creates anxiety.
What?
I'm just saying this is
He's not
what
wrong.
they
I
like.
mean,
People get freaked out when they see a legend card back or they see the legend rank and they're not legend, or like that's the highest they've ever been, and then they get matched with some like big
I mean,
rank
but the only
guy.
reason
They're
why
gonna
you'd
be like,
playing against that rank is because you were there last season, something like that.
I'm not telling you
Right,
it
so
makes
you're already used
sense.
to facing legend players, but I mean, kind of like Warshack said, it is just more that.
I'm not telling you.
seeing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I'm not telling you it makes sense. I'm just telling you that's the reason. The anxiety. They don't want to see, oh, I'm silver going against a legend. I'm never gonna climb. This ain't fair. Get the Gurja.
yeah.
Yeah,
I
fair
think
enough.
Warshack might be onto something, because I kind of think the whole point about the whole rank system overhaul was to reduce ladder anxiety to get more people to participate in standard ranked.
Yeah,
Because
it was
now
exactly why.
you feel less bad about losing now, because you lose 1 star, but you gain multiple for winning. So I feel like maybe to reduce ladder anxiety is actually the intent. Seems like it matches up, actually. If you think about it, like it does.
Also, guys, I see a lot of questions in chat, and hopefully we're pulling them from chat, and we'll answer all of your questions at the end of the podcast that we think we can go over further. I've seen a couple good ones so far, so we're not ignoring your comments. We'll get to them.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Do you want to move on to our next segment, guys?
Yeah. Let's
I think
do
we've
it.
hammered out ranking enough. So yeah, hold on 1 second here. So the next
This is-
segment I have is the best X.
Reminiscing. Yes.
Yep.
Ah, yes, the reminiscing.
I'm gonna pull that up too.
All right, who wants to reminisce first?
Best decks of the Raven. So I don't know if you guys saw this, but it was an XR post. on Twitter where he gave a whole bunch of statistics about like the most powerful decks and cards from the previous year. And I definitely think there's some interesting takeaways in here. Specifically, I thought it was interesting that Paladin was the best deck of the entire year, like for the Raven. But even Paladin was evidently insane the whole time, and
I mean, here I
criminally
thought that
underplayed.
Odd Paladin was the problem, but apparently even Paladin was even more powerful than that.
Saying
I guess
Odd
it just kind of
Paladin-
like, I guess it's just a matter of like how it felt to play against. Maybe like it just felt terrible to play against Odd Paladin, whereas like even Paladin maybe felt like he had a chance. I don't know.
Yeah, Odd Paladin almost made me stop playing Hearthstone. I just really did not like that deck, and I love
Mhm.
Hearthstone, so it was that bad for me. I do not like that deck.
Yeah, they both
I
had
think a lot
their
of-
time to shine. Yeah.
I think like a lot of like Odd Paladin too. Like I don't remember even Paladin being powerful every single expansion. Maybe it was, and I just don't remember it. But I remember like Odd Paladin just being completely dominating every single expansion, and like nothing really ever changed with any new expansion. So like I remember through like Witchwood, Boomsday, Rasticon's Rumble, like it would just be the number one deck every single expansion. I think like even Paladin, I really only remember it being strong during one of those expansions. So like Odd Paladin just was consistently strong.
Well, Odd Paladin was the second best deck of the entire year, so it's not like you're like wrong at all because it was the second. It
Yeah.
was certainly horrible. Yeah, it got nerfed how many times? 3 times. They did level up, and then they did what was the other one? There's another nerf, I
Quarter
thought.
Creeper.
Corridor Creeper.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, that was kind of like a aggro deck nerf, not necessarily Odd Paladin, but it definitely went really well in that deck. 0 mana 5/5 feels good, man.
Yeah, like last year, going into like where we are right now, a year ago, going into Rise of Shadows, when we hadn't gotten the Hall of Fame announcement yet, I was entirely wondering how I could play Hearthstone seriously with another year of Odd Paladin. That was honestly something that was very hot on my mind, just because I did not like that deck, and playing against it all the time was not fun for me. I'm so happy.
Yeah.
Oh,
Again,
exactly.
played a lot.
I'm kind of upset though that a lot of the even decks got kind of hit in that crossfire. Like, I don't know about you guys, but I actually like playing like even Rogue, or like even Shaman. I actually like playing a lot of those Gen decks, and I mean the odd decks are just too powerful that Gen got kind of caught in the crossfire.
Yeah, it's kind of gonna it's gonna be like when in like 2 years from now or a year from now when Galakron decks rotate out and they say here's the top decks from that year from whatever. It's gonna be Galakron Rogue, Galakron Shaman, yep.
Galakron Warrior.
Yeah, pretty much.
Another thing interesting, best deck in the first week of the year of the Raven, Ixar has Tempo Druid. But do you know what we all called that was? It was a crazy deck to remember. It was like, I think this was like the first deck I ever hit Legend with, but it was Spiteful Druid. Do you guys remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
Prince
gosh,
Spiteful.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where we ran all minions except for an ultimate infestation.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
I actually miss those spiteful decks. It really, as a deck builder, it really required some creative deck building, and I really like cards that do that, where it really requires you to get creative with your deck building.
So you must love Kel'Thas.
Yes, I do. And actually, that brings me to I'll talk about him in a little bit later on too, with one of the decks that'll be coming up in the new expansion.
Oh, okay.
But yes, love Kel'Thas.
Anything else you guys saw interesting in that article? Other than that, the best deck of the years was even Paladin, and evidently it wasn't even close to Odd Paladin. Like, it was so much better than Odd Paladin that they had to he specifically clarified that, which is crazy that it was underplayed.
So one thing too, like one thing I wanted to mention this too, because I know a lot of people love Ziliax, but he said, well, the most powerful cards that we never changed. Obviously, Ziliax is in the list, but Town Crier was actually number 1. That's kind of interesting to me too. And then Snip Snap, obviously, too. But
I believe Town Crier.
yeah, I do too.
I feel like
Yeah,
It's very
you don't
powerful.
get as mad at it as a Turnium Rover, because usually a Turnium Rover screws over whatever you were going to drop earlier, and Town Crier, you're just like, oh, okay, it's a 1/2, but in reality, it's probably better because you're tutoring a rush card that's usually cheap as well to follow up with.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely better, but it's annoying that they have 2 options to go to on turn 1. If they have one of them, is gives them a pretty good advantage at the beginning there.
Yeah.
I think Town Crier is one of those cards that like it doesn't seem like it's really too good, but it's very strong in the right deck. Yeah.
Tutor's Scion of Ruin now, which is really good. So that's like that card is pretty much what makes that warrior deck work at a powerful level. Sometimes one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
as a
mean,
control
with
warrior
the-
player. Oh shit, sorry.
No, do it.
As the control warrior player, the Town Crier, to hammer that, for those of you who don't understand, the Town Crier was the 1-mana 1/2 battle cry, draw a rush minion from your deck, and the fact that like it wasn't the stats like they were talking about, it's the minion that it gets. So you're gonna get the Restless Mummy or you're gonna get Ziliax. So you're basically pulling off one of the, again, most powerful cards that were never changed. Ziliax is the other card on this list. So the Town Crier is getting you to the Ziliax or the Restless Mummy, which is your turn 4 play, which is going to kill at least 2 minions most of the time, because by turn 3 or 4, the minions have 3-ish health. So, and if they don't, they have 4 health. The Town Crier taps it one time, and then the Restless Mummy clears it up. So yeah, Town Crier is was so good. As a warrior player, I just love that card.
And that's actually kind of funny that you mentioned Control Warrior. That's one thing that like was incredibly powerful during Year of the Raven that we actually haven't seen on any of one of these lists is Control Warrior. Like, do you guys remember when Control Warrior was dominating so much that in one of the tournaments, every single player brought Control Warrior to the tournaments?
That was
I
awful.
remember that.
Yeah.
Sorry.
The fatigue matchup. Are you talking about? Was that when Dead Man's Hand was a thing, or?
That was when the pro players all started playing Control Warrior, and then they ran over the time limits for all the esport competitions.
Because they bring Elysiana, and then they bring Banker for the Elysiana as well.
Yeah,
I hate that card. I love Control Warrior, but that design to extend a game off 10 cards, like, yo, just fire whoever fucking designed that shit. Like, like seriously, like whoever just thought that was a good idea, just next time you have a good idea, just like don't do anything with it.
That matchup is so long and boring. Like watching Control Warrior mirrors like on an esports stage where you have to listen to people like comment on, oh, he's going to use the Dynamatic this turn. Nope, he's going to actually hold it. Instead of using the Dynamatic, he's going to use the Mummy. Oh, now he uses the Dynamatic. And like it's just so annoying. Like watching this, I was like, I can't do this. I can't watch.
Like half an hour in, these commentators are so bored of commentating the game that they're just like having conversations about something else. Like these games are so long.
I'm a control player too, and I just could not.
So I guess like speaking of like the new meta, the new expansion, since we are losing Dr. Boom, like Dr. Boom was one of the reasons that deck worked so well, is you got that almost infinite value. Do you guys think Control Warrior is gonna survive into the next expansion?
I don't.
With Dr. Boom? That was a huge hit.
Probably not.
What do you think?
I mean, I play a lot of Control Warrior, and I've played it over the years, and like there always is some sort of like big late game value. Like envision a deck, right? And it does something really, really well. Right now, it's getting Dr. Boom on 7 and just valuing through mechs, right? That's the dream. Without Dr. Boom, the deck's terrible, right? There's nothing in the deck that makes it good, besides maybe like Warpath. Before you had like N'Zoth, you had Arcvis for fatigue. We also had other value tools. Now, like, what do we get? We get the Prime for some armor, but like, where's the win? Where does the win come from? Like, what's making this deck better than another control deck that has some sort of every turn generates value, like a Galakron deck, right? Every turn, a Galakron deck can hit the hero power, and they can generate a Lackey, which can generate this, which can generate that. Warrior, we have 2 armor. Yeah, that's not gonna last too long. So, yeah, Warrior is gonna be in a funky spot, unless they funky spot.
Somebody say funky.
Unless it's some sort of aggro deck, which is what we see the Invoke Galakron Warrior now. That the core of the deck is you go face with the Invoke and you kill them. That the deck does it really well. It buffs up minions, they go face. But control aspects, there's not really. I didn't see a lot of control stuff that's really gonna like win you the game over more aggressive style tools.
I feel like they got a decent amount of good control cards, but the winning the game part might be a little difficult. Maybe we'll see the rise of like old Control Warrior where they used to run like 10 legendaries or something like that. Like maybe Karen Bloodhoof makes an appearance. I don't know. Could be cool. right.
That part's strong.
Also, too, like talk about control too. Like I think control's going to be in a tricky spot because like control shaman loses a lot of stuff as well too. Loses Hagatha. Not that control shaman is ever a thing, but I don't know. Control decks I feel like are losing a lot of stuff. Those late game bombs, like Warshack said.
The Highlander control ones have some, in my opinion. You know, like control, like the ones that run all the Highlander cards, but they're more of like a control style. You know, like
Yeah.
I feel like the
Well,
new priest deck is probably spot.
Yeah.
Highland priest.
That's just because the Highlander cards are good, though. You put Highlander cards in
True.
any deck, and the deck's good. You're like, wow, this deck's so good. It's like, well, you drew Zephyrus, and then you drew Alexstrasza, and those cards win games. So, yeah, Highlander cards.
Zephyrus is the best control card because he always has the answer that you want.
Exactly.
That's debate. If you watch my recent streams, you know that's debatable. Zephyrs is really not doing it nowadays.
Well, he's broken. I mean, and that's not his
Yeah,
fault, but he's
they'll fix
supposed to be.
I feel like
he's got-
between rotations, Zephyrus is very confused. He's going through an identity crisis.
Right now, he's obsessed with Natalie Celine.
He's got a
He
crush on.
Oh
Natalie.
my
can't stop
God.
thinking about her.
Oh, loves
I mean, I
Natalie.
can't either, but I'm not trying to offer her every time, man. Come on.
When it comes to single target removal, there's no other woman for Zephyr.
I had one mana left over yesterday. I was at 8 health. The guy had a 5 attack weapon, and he just shadow stepped his Kronks. So I was gonna die next turn if I didn't heal up. I had 1 mana left. I was going for Radiance or Bloodcell Corsair to live, and he offers me Natalie Celine, Mind Control, and something that's horrible. And it was awful. I was like 10-0 on Europe too. I was trying to get to Legend, and that's what happens to me.
Zephyrs can't stop
Zephyrs
being in love, man.
Mhm.
But
Hopefully he
Yeah.
gets fixed in the next patch. They haven't said anything about him being broken as a result of everyone complaining about it, but I feel like Zephyrs is the Blizzard developers' baby. So they probably see the complaints about it, and they're just probably fixed.
yeah, I gotta
hopefully.
post more clips. Yeah.
I gotta
The-
post more clips.
Like what they fixed last time, what they said in their patch notes, what they fixed. Like I have a clip for every single thing for every single bug that they mentioned there. Like honestly, and like I lost a tournament because of one of those bugs too.
What?
Like
That's
just-
content. You need to get
Yeah.
that shit out there, DMoney. You got content, dude. You-
Bruh.
Oh man.
all right, let's
All right.
go into most popular cards rotating to wild. I think that's a good thing to bring
Yeah.
up here.
Ziliax, pretty fair to say.
Well, let's talk about the
Yeah.
domino effect of Ziliax. Like, what does Ziliax rotating out of standard mean for the rest?
Your mic cut out a bit.
Sorry, what does Ziliax rotating out of standard say for the rest of the meta?
We get to run new cards now.
Well, I mean, there's less healing in Mage, so that's super impactful for you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's really not a lot of neutral healing. I don't think we got any neutral heal cards, did we?
That's
I
good.
don't believe so, actually.
Yeah. So that does help aggro quite a bit. Yeah, I mean Ziliax and Snip Snap rotating out. Mechs are definitely going to be a lot weaker now. I don't really think we have too many options for Magnetic besides maybe Hunter.
All Magnetic's gone.
Really?
That's from Boomsday.
Yeah, I don't think they brought Magnetic into any other expansion.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just Boomstay. So it's the rise of the mechs.
I think it's interesting to think about Rogue's implication with Ziliax being gone, because that's practically the only way that like the Highlander Rogue and the Galakron Rogue like re-stabilize themselves against like Hunter, for instance. So that being gone just kind of leaves them pretty defenseless.
I mean, especially with Light
Literally.
Drinker coming out too. Yeah.
There's no way for Rogue.
Yeah,
to
even
heal.
more neutral healing. Good point.
Okay, I mean they could heal. They could play either Zephyrs, Galakron, or Kronks for the healing, but yeah, their options are very limited. That's true.
That's a good point. There's still heal.
Yeah.
I mean, the deliberate Highlander ones. stuff, like, and the
I just think
Galacon
it's funny
ones.
that 4 out of 5 of these cards are found in Warrior.
Interesting.
Yeah. Well, like classes that shouldn't have heal, that like they're like you guys touched on, like rogue shouldn't have healing, hunters shouldn't have healing. So like Ziliak's leaving those decks, like they've always been kind of weary about like printing, not even printing, but making, you know, like neutral heal cards. Like Antique Healbot was really annoying sometimes, depending on like what class that ran it. So like giving class identity, like if you want healing, you play Paladin, you play Priest, you play Shaman, like, and WoW, those guys can be healers. And WoW, if you want a healer, you don't pick up a rogue. That guy doesn't do shit. So like, yeah, keeping class identity I think is pretty important, because there's like a time in Hearthstone where it's like every class kind of did everything. Like there was nothing, like, I don't know.
That's
You want to
totally
make sure
true.
that, yeah, like you don't
They've
want to
been
give everything
like
to
a lot of
everyone.
people. Yeah, a lot of people talk about class identity, and it makes me laugh because it's just like a meme right now. But now it looks like they're actually trying to like get back to the basics. So that is cool to see. And like these
Yeah.
cards are like Ziliak's every single deck ran it, so it's nice to actually get to see different 5-drops and different 3-drops, stuff like that.
What if there's a neutral heal for the Year of the Phoenix, but it comes out in like the mid expansion or something, just like Boomsday, and like they're gonna add it in to change the meta for the next expansion? I feel like they might have done that intentionally for design space and like meta impact. I don't know. Maybe. I could picture it happening again. I don't know. Do you think
I
they would?
mean,
They'd put another neutral heal? Like I can picture
I could actually like that makes sense, like Draco, what you're saying. If they did though, I don't know if it'd be ever as powerful as Ziliak's though, because Ziliak's was pretty powerful and I mean pretty ubiquitous, kind of like what D-Money said, was running every single thing. But I think it's nice, maybe like halfway through, maybe in the third expansion, to get some kind of neutral healing to switch up the meta. Maybe go a little bit more of like a slower route. But I don't know. I don't know if they'll print something as powerful as Ziliak's again.
I don't like to imagine that being possible. Like, I feel like if they're trying to print something as powerful as Ziliak's, they're either going to completely overkill it or not hit it, you know? Because that card had like a very, very special design point where it was so good, but it wasn't something that made people feel bad about losing all the time. You know, like it was an impactful card that we didn't. Weird, but
I was expecting some kind of neutral heal in this expansion. I'm kind of disappointed that there is none, but I mean, Warshack's point with the class identity, I guess it does make sense. I was just hoping for maybe like a lesser Antique Healbot or something, because like the only option we have right now, I don't even know if it's going away, that 8-mana 8/8 that heals you when it dies.
Deranged Doctor,
yeah,
Yeah,
Deranged Doctor.
Is he going away? Do you know?
I think
don't
it was
know.
I
Witchwood,
don't
I want to say.
Because that's like
Yeah,
one of our
Witchwood
only
sounds
sources
right.
of heal, and that card's not even good enough. So
Hey, and Plot Twist Warlock, that card's good.
yeah, and that's actually gonna be a thing right now. That could be a thing. So
that card, Plot Twist, is going to keep its healing. So that's interesting to think about, because like as a control deck, that card's not really losing what gave it some of its sustainability. Interesting to think about. Good point.
yeah, sad to see them go, but for me, I'm happy to see them go because I'm tired of playing with the same cards all the time. Like we were saying about, like we were talking about Odd Paladin, Even Paladin before. Like yeah, that was good for the time. Like sure, like those decks were fun and all that. I mean, to a point, but it's nice to see a new meta, just an overall new cards being played. So I think it's for the best.
Does anybody have any other cards off the top of their mind that's not on these like top 5 that will like kind of impact the meta a lot if we're gonna miss them? Like right off the top of my head, Springpaw, I know we're gonna miss quite a bit. Like in Hunter, like that was kind of like a staple 1-drop in Hunter. They're gonna hurt without it. Like especially for the side quests.
What was that, Warshack?
Like
Zul'jin is it's played less, but it was super impactful the whole. Springpaw leaving, but Varanus being in the meta definitely makes Varanus a lot less powerful as well, because those cards are very often combined together. So it's definitely weakening Highlander Hunter in particular.
Yeah,
right
that's like
there.
the only deck that it's running, I think, right now. But the card is really good with a lot of things that they have. I mean, one standout card. I play Mage all day, every day. So Pocket Galaxy, we know is rotating out. But I mean, people are like, "Aren't you so sad that it's rotating out?" I'm like, I've played with this too much. Like, I want, like, it's the same thing with what I was saying before. Like, I want to play with new cards. It's nice that I get something new. Like, if Pocket Galaxy stayed in the game, then like, I don't know, it would just feel like the same thing over and over. It's Pocket Galaxy definitely changed the game a lot. I mean, they had to nerf it and then unnerf it and then whatever. So, or no, they buffed it and then they unbuffed it.
I think
Yeah.
Khadgar might be relevant in Mage again after all these cards rotate out with that like new free spell and stuff. Now that Pocket Galaxy's gone, so you can make like 4 water elementals. That'd be pretty cool.
That's the combo that you're seeing. I never.
I don't know. That would be
That's a-
super annoying, right? Like Khadgar into that freeze attack, 4
And then you get
water
flicked.
elementals. That would be crazy. It's so annoying. You can lock up their whole board for so many turns.
I mean,
I
that's
thought
a
about
10
that
mana
earlier.
combo. That's a 10 mana combo. That's a lot.
Yeah, I guess that.
One thing that I actually saw too, as I was going through some of the cards that are rotating out too, one of the cards that surprised me that I didn't even realize was rotating is what's the Elemental Evocation in Mage. So Cyclone Mage is
Ooh.
gonna take quite a bit of a hit as well.
Big deal. That's
Yeah.
from
But that's-
Rosticon. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
that's
also gonna
fine
be a
though.
lot harder to get the Avalanche out too. The 7 mana 7/5, and
Yeah.
that doubles itself when you play an Elemental last turn. It'll be a lot harder to get him out on the board now too. So
I mean, that's fine about the Elemental Mage because they already lost Mountain Giant, which was pretty big for them. And then now that they're pushing the no minion mage, you're not even going to want to run them. So
yeah.
You know, it's going to be great to be gone. Galvanize for Mech Paladin. Because that card, like on turn 2, off of the Crystallizer, where they just load everything up on the board on turn 2. So happy that's happened.
yeah,
Like so many mechs in general are leaving from that deck too.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
I feel bad for all the wild players with that card, but
Galvanizer.
yeah.
Pretty.
I've seen a little. I don't really watch Wild too much, but from what I've seen, it's basically like turn 2, you have a full board, or you dump your whole entire hand, and it's just disgusting.
Yeah. And also too, so one last little card that I'll throw out there too. I played a lot of Shaman this expansion. Played a lot of the Highlander Shaman. And one card that I'll really miss is Shutterwalk. And kind of tagging along with that is Haggith the Witch. Like those are two extremely powerful late game bombs in Shaman that they're gonna miss now.
Oh, that's a little triggering to me, Funky. I'm not gonna lie. You said you're gonna miss Shutterwalk? Oh
Yeah.
I've been trying to get that card Hall of Famed for like a year now.
Really?
Oh my god.
It does open up a lot of design space for Shaman now that Shutterwalk's gone, though, so they can print some really cool stuff now. Now that it's gone, hopefully they take advantage of that.
I've been playing since the closed beta, and I've rarely ever like taken a break from Hearthstone. And when Shutterwalk was like, when they had like that loop where with the life drinkers and everything.
Holy shit! I hated it. Oh.
I couldn't play. I couldn't play actually. It ruined the whole entire game for me. And then even after that, when like Quest Shaman was a thing, it's still, oh my gosh, it was still so annoying to me. I just always hated that card. I think it's super busted. Should have been
kind of like Draco said, it's all about the design space too. I mean, it's a good card, but it's very, very easily it's very easy to cross the line of it being busted.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought the original Shutterwalk deck was like, so I also hated losing to it because it was ridiculous waiting for all of those animations and voice lines to go off because that honestly made you mad.
My jaws.
Yes, but I thought that deck was kind of the most brilliant degenerate thing that like us as a like community patched up together because like it was like there's 30 cards and together all of their battle cries turn into this like Exodia your opponent just can't do anything with once you get there. And it was like the Serenite Chain Gang duplicates the Shutterwalks, the Grumble gives you the Shutterwalk back. You have Zola to make the golden one. It was just,
do you like this?
I thought it was brilliant that it was created, that they like basically found like it wasn't a simple deck to come up with. It was a very
What?
I thought
It was a day
brilliant,
one
like,
deck.
Blizzard.
Clearly, DracoCatt never sat through the infinite armor.
He never
freeze
queued up.
Shutterwalk.
He didn't
I
queue
was
5 of
playing
them in
it,
a row.
okay?
Yeah, it was
Alright,
genius
so-
by Blizzard to not playtest that at all. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it was.
So 2 points from me. That deck was actually a day one deck that the community had already come up with. So it wasn't even like some hidden gem. It was day one people found this deck out. It wasn't refined, but the combo was identified. But the problem with
Yeah.
Shutter, I didn't even have a problem with the card. The way Shutter's played right now is you play the card, it's a lot of value, right? But he doesn't win the game. He's just a big minion that generates a shit ton of value, right? Like, that's fine. But the problem was with that deck is that there was no particular combo, there was no order of operations, you didn't have to wait for anything, you just play the cards that were already good, like, the cards were just good in general, their battle cries were solid, and then after playing all these random cards and that are good, now you just play this other good card and you just win. Like, there was no OTK, it was only like Shrivala where you had to like line up this elaborate lethal, like going through your deck and maintaining heals with board clears and all this stuff. It didn't even matter. You just play shit and you just won the game because you played a single card. No.
Because of the ice elemental, though, that made it like horrible. Because that one battle cry of freezing everything went off. Like, I feel like that one card made the entire Shutterwalk deck. That was what it was that made it uninteractive.
All of it.
Yeah,
I think it was clever. I think people coming up with it, sure, that was clever. I'm not one to try to come up with combos personally, like elaborate combos like that. But I mean, that honestly, in my opinion, should not have existed, and that ruined the game for me. So I love that Shutterwalk is going to be gone. I'm going to throw a party. Everybody's invited. It's going to be beautiful.
You know, and also too, yeah, I mean that combo should have never been printed in the first place. But I think that was like the start of when Blizzard really paid attention to the community as well. Like Shutterwalk, and then during like the Gen and Baku and stuff. Like I remember like a couple years even before that, their philosophy was like never change anything no matter what.
Yep.
But ever since then, like if a busted combo were to come out, they were, I mean, getting a little bit quicker now to fix things like that. I think that's kind of cool. Like,
I mean,
Shutterwalk was one of like the first times that they did that, and
they
reminds
could've
me
totally...
of Snip Snap and Reckless Experimenter. How like we identified that they created a OTK for turn 5 in the community before they even came out with Snip Snap. They nerfed Experiment for Snip Snap. Crazy. Like, how do they not see that?
They could have totally Hall of Fame Shutterwalk a long time ago. If whatever. All right, yeah, I'm sorry. I can't.
No,
you know how DmoneyGames feels about Shutterwalk.
Yeah.
Nightmares,
oh my gosh, I see that.
How do you really feel, DmoneyGames?
It's gonna be waking up in the middle of the night, like hot sweats. My claws.
My claws.
Can't even look at my nails anymore.
Oh shit. Oh.
All right.
You guys want to talk about Sack Pack?
Yes.
Yeah.
Why don't you
Let me
start it?
pull
T?
that
How
up.
do you, what do you think about Sack Pack upcoming expansion?
Yeah, so this has been a pretty controversial topic because there's so many, as you know, this is like the demon expansion. Last time we had a dragon expansion, this is like a lot of demons in here for every class even. And the fact that Warlock is the only class that has a card that can kill demons and it's free and they gain health back. Yeah, it seems pretty busted. A lot of people think that it should go away or it should only target your own minions, and I agree. I think it should just be Hall of Famed. I thought they were going to Hall of Fame it with the recent Hall of Fame, and I was pretty sad that they didn't. So I mean, it's nice that we have a counter Demon Hunter, kind of, but it seems pretty unfair that Warlock is the only class that gets this kill all demons card. I don't know. I'm not a fan of it still being in the game. I don't know what you guys think.
Yeah, I actually kind of like the point that you brought up about it targeting like your friendly minions. I think that would be pretty fair. So like if you compare like one of the tech cards to last expansion, so last expansion was the dragon expansion. And one of the tech cards that we have for that is that What is it called? The 4-mana 4/4 that gets +4/+4 in Rush if your opponent has a dragon.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that card, like, everybody thought that card would be busted, right? Because everybody's going to be running dragons. But as it turns out, there's really only a couple dragon decks. So it's still very situational.
Mhm.
So, like, with Sack Pack, though, there's only really going to be a couple decks that actually run demons. There's going to be, like, Warlock decks and Demon Hunter decks. So it still is, like, a tech card only against, like, a couple of those decks. But Warlock can always still use it against their own minions still. So it's never a dead card. Whereas, like, sometimes that dragon tech card is a dead card, like if your opponent doesn't have a dragon. So, like, Sack Pack is never a dead card, which makes it so powerful.
It's 0 mana.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's free. And it heals you. The
Yeah,
best removal in the game.
I am hoping, I don't think it's going to happen, but I'm hoping that when the new expansion drops, they make a change to it. I don't know. Do you guys think they would ever do that? I don't know.
What kind of
Yeah,
changes
I
would
mean-
you guys want to Sack Pack if they were?
I like D's suggestion.
Well, like the one where it only targets your own minions. It's either they do that or they Hall of Fame it, in my opinion. But
Well,
Like, even
Funky
if it
brought up-
targets opponents' minions, I don't know what mana cost they could make it to make it fair. Even
Yeah.
if it targets your own and your opponents, like, it's still just such a busted effect to target either.
Do you think Sack Pack's a problem, Warshack?
Yeah, I mean, Funky brought up a good point. Like right now, Demon Hunter isn't even a class, and it's still a double in most Warlock decks. It's not necessarily a tech card right now. It's literally just a heal. It's a 0 mana heal 5, and you kill off your little imps that you get off the invoke. Like, so they're gonna play the card anyway, and Demon Hunter's gonna be 80% of ladder for the first couple weeks, so they get a free brilliant tech card. So yeah, I mean, just destroy a friendly minion, make it cost 1 mana, call it a day. Like-
yeah, I'd say like 2 mana maybe. I don't know.
2 mana. I'll meet you halfway at 1.
This
Alright,
also
one of-
buffs Highlander decks in general, right? Because Zephyrs discovers Sack Pack. So as long as Demon Hunter is in the meta, then any Highlander deck essentially gets a free, like, remove a free Demon Hunter card and heal yourself for 5. So that's huge impact that.
Yeah, and I see
Sack
somebody
Pack
in
has.
chat saying Jiraxxus, free my boy Jiraxxus. Yeah,
Yeah.
Jiraxxus can never be played if Sack Pack is in the pool for Zephyrs. And that's sad.
Well,
That
I mean,
interaction was so lull at first. Sorry, Warshack. What were you
Yeah.
gonna say?
no, you're good. I mean, you can still play Draxus. I play Draxus in my control lock against Highlander decks all the time. The key is you just have to wait for them to play Zephyrus first.
Yes, but
But I agree. Yeah, we should be able to Sack Pack our Elder Lord. So
But he's the lord of the
It also doesn't
Aragar
fit the
Legion.
lore of Warlocks very well too, because like Warlocks is all about like damaging themselves, damaging their own minions, sacrificing and stuff. Like you're not sacrificing your opponent's minions.
yeah,
Like,
Yeah,
that
that's
doesn't
true.
fit Warlock.
it's not a sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think that like it's like a problem with like the flavor of the card, because I guess like the idea is like Warlocks sacrifice demons. If it's a demon, I can sacrifice it. But I think like with the implications of all the Ashes of Outland stuff and the Demon Hunter, that I don't know. It might be exactly what you need to keep Demon Hunter in check for the coming meta. So I feel a little bit apprehensive saying whether or not like I think like Sack Pack should be preemptively nerfed, especially because Funky also suggested like we all thought Dragon Maul Poacher was going to be like the most oppressive tech card ever when we looked at like Descent of Dragon. But then when Descent of Dragons came out, we were all running Dragon Maul Poacher and realizing we always have a 4-mana 4/4 in our hand, and that became less insane. So maybe we are. I mean, I totally agree with your reasoning for everything there, but I feel like what if we are also over hyping the imperativeness of Sack Pack? But I feel like because of Demon Hunter existing,
We're not
And-
overhyping it.
right? Yeah,
It's a 0 mana kill whatever we want, heal 5. That is.
I mean, if you think about it though, without Sack Pact, Demon Hunter would completely run over Warlock. Because I mean, Hunter naturally kills Warlock, right? Because Warlock just kills himself, and Hunter just kills them faster. Demon Hunter's like almost a faster version of Hunter. So like even without Sack Pact, I feel like Warlock would really struggle against Demon Hunter. So maybe it is exactly what they need to stay competitive against Demon Hunter.
Maybe.
That's a fair point.
Yeah.
It's
These
just
are also
kind
the
of-
same people that printed SnipSnap before looking at Reckless Experimenter. So
True.
we're giving them a lot of credit right now.
Yeah, it's just kind of I don't know. It's different because it's not just Demon Hunter because all the classes got demons in general. And then there's a lot more demons in the pool to get from like evolve shenanigans or transforming minions into ones of the same cost. So I think the card just is too good. It's going to be too good. That's my opinion.
Okay.
We'll see
I
how
mean-
it plays out.
Yeah, we'll know in a couple days. Those of you on account of the Demon Hunters, run yourself some Warlock Double Stack Pack. Yeah, buddy.
Or Highlander.
All right.
For Zephyrus.
Yep, there you go.
Only if he breaks his obsession with Natalie Celine, because you're gonna be looking at the stack packs and he's gonna be like, "What? Check out her."
Have you heard about my girl Celine?
I've been calling her
all right,
Selena
what's-
Gomez. Yeah.
There you go. All right, what's next on the list, boys?
Probably the most fun section to have to end it off here, which is what are our go-to decks going to be on Tuesday for the expansion? Do you want to start it off, D-Money?
I'm just gonna play Arena, honestly. No, I'm kidding. Let's see. There's so many exciting decks. I mean, I'm gonna have to try out Demon Hunter first, just because, of course. But
I was gonna say if you're gonna say Highlander Mage.
I am gonna
You
play
gotta
that
mix
at
it
some
up.
point.
You better play it on the really. People are going to literally tune in to watch you play Highlander Mage with the new expansion. So you better give it to the people that are going to watch you for that.
I mean, I'm doing a 24-hour stream for the new expansion, so I'm gonna be playing every single deck possible. I'm making 20
We got
decks
time.
for the new expansion. Just a matter of which one I want to play first. That's really tough. I would probably say, oh man, I mean, no minion mage seems like it's gonna be so much fun, but it's gonna be so bad. Everybody knows that. I need to go with Murloc Paladin. That's why are you laughing at that? What?
I think it might be neat. You know?
That's why you're laughing at it.
Murloc Paladin's gonna be tough without prismatic lens though. That's for sure.
Yeah.
The prime is like the prime takes care of that issue, I think.
And you get the weapon,
Um,
the new weapon.
the weapon's really good. They got a lot of good things here. I think they'll be just fine with that. Like instead of playing the 2 tip to scales, I'll probably just play 1 tip to scales and the prime. And the prime, when it gets to the 8 mana card, is basically like a better tip to scales. So yeah, something like that. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. I think it's gonna stomp. I mean the new 1 mana Murloc that's dormant, that's been getting a lot of hate. I think that card's actually pretty great if you run 1 of it. I don't think 2 of is good, but
That's actually solid because you can drop it on 1 and you're guaranteed 3 Murlocs on turn
Yep.
3. So you can drop like a Cold Light Seer or
Yep,
something like
exactly. Exactly. Or a War Leader. Actually, well, they won't have Rock. But yeah,
Yeah.
the Cold Light Seer is the
Yeah.
combo.
that. And you know, if you're
Makes
running
sense.
1-ofs, you mentioned like a 1 of like Tip the Scales, 1 of like that 1 cost Murloc now, whatever. What if you went Highlander so you could
I
get
s-
Zephyrus, you know?
I saw that you made a Highlander Murloc Dragon Pally.
Yeah, yeah.
Saw that. I was looking at
And
that
Zephyrus
before we
gives you
started.
sack pack against those demon hunters.
My work.
Draxus, yeah.
What about
it's
you,
possible.
Warshack? What are you playing, dude?
I mean, obviously Demon Hunter, you gotta give it a go. Everybody's gonna be giving it a go. And then after that, I don't know, I'm probably gonna try out some Control Warrior and lose a lot. So that'll probably be the game plan, and then I'll obviously gotta try all the Prime decks, gotta make content. So
So
I think
everything.
I think
Yeah,
you'll be
so
very
basically-
successful with the warrior because it's gonna be day 1. Everyone's gonna be playing the aggressive decks, so I think you'll actually be in a pretty good spot as long
I
as
mean,
you
yeah,
get
yeah.
Warlock.
We'll see. We'll
Anybody
see.
can come up with a day 1 control warrior. It's definitely Warshack. So
True.
I'll see what I can muster up.
What about you, Funky? You got anything? What's your most hype of your creation that you're excited
Ooh.
about playing?
you guys ready for this one?
The first deck. What is
Oh.
it?
Okay, so it's tied. There's two different decks. There's gonna be a miracle Demon Hunter. So both of these decks use Kael'thas. Just.
Oh my gosh, I thought of some nutty combos. Kael'thas with
All
that.
right, so with Kael'thas, Demon Hunter has the 0 mana like twin spell. So you can drop Kael'thas on 6, do that 0 mana cost twin spell, cast the 8 mana Inner Demon, do that combo twice over, and that's a 20 damage combo on turn 6. Boom.
Yep.
Yeah.
All right,
That's
cool.
insane.
So that's a cool combo. I mean, it's not really a secret. A lot of people know about that combo, but it's gonna be pretty fun to try and optimize the deck for it. And then the other one is gonna be a Miracle Flow Mage deck. So when I saw Miracle Flow, just a million combos started running through my mind about how you can abuse it, making all your spells cost 1 less in your deck. A lot of people instantly went to like an only spell type deck, but I'm gonna try and use it in more of like a Cyclone type of deck. So we still do have Cyclone, but we don't have the Elemental Evocation. So we can still make all of our 1 mana cost spells in our deck cost 0 with the Miracle Flow. Just kind of treat it like a Miracle type deck. We can throw like a Gadgetzan Auctioneer in there, maybe a couple of Questing Explorers in there as well too. All right, Questing Adventure, Questing Explorer.
Yep. Adventure.
Yeah,
I was
Adventure.
thinking too. And then you can also throw in a Kael'thas in there too with like a couple powerful spells too, like maybe like some Power of Creations or whatnot in there, because you're casting a lot of those 0 cost spells and kind of treat it like that.
That's an
Nice.
interesting concept. I actually like that.
Yeah.
Especially I'm looking at your deck
Pretty
right
cool.
now as you're talking about it. It has like Shenbala in it as well. There's
Exactly.
plenty
And then it
of
also does have the new elemental side quest in there. So it does have enough elementals that you should be able to complete that side quest. And then when you draw 3 spells from your deck, they should be most oftentimes 3 0 cost spells. And we all know how busted 0 cost spells are.
I've never mana cheated in my life. What are you talking about?
Yeah, right.
I play Highlander Mage. What?
Yeah, the elemental side quest for Mage, the draw 3 is so good. I remember you had
Pretty cool.
played this deck. I'd cashed in my funky points and I linked you that Shen deck that one day, and you had completed the quest. You're like, damn, this was easy. Drawing 3 cards. Holy shit, this thing is good.
Right.
Yeah, that quest is really underrated.
Yes.
It needs more activators for consistency, but it's amazing when it works.
No, yeah, very good.
I just remembered we came up with that really broken degenerate warrior control idea last stream, and you should play that first, Warshack, as one of your decks. The one where you have the Bulwark of Azeroth tutors, you bring 2 of those, and then the 2 girls that really give your weapon. That would
Oh yeah.
That's the one where you can't take damage. That would be
Oh, the Loot Pillagers?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that'd
Loot
be
Pillager
so
with the-
annoying to play against. Just
yeah. I already have that down.
because they have that tutor for the weapon now too. So all you have to do is draw 1 of those 2 tutors, and then you just got the shield for 3. What is that? 10? How much durability? It comes to 4, right? Or 5?
Yep. 4.
4.
yeah.
So you technically have 12 face damages that you can nullify if you bring.
Yeah.
And then if you bring like Upgrade and Captain Greenskin.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
and it
yeah.
upgrades it when you tutor it too. So that
Yep.
also okay.
You'll never win the game, but you won't lose the game. So
Yeah,
I mean-
that could possibly be countered with like a Galakron Rogue. They could just constantly chip down your weapon with a bunch of 1/1 lackeys.
yeah, there's definitely ways to
Mhm.
counter it. I think it's still very strong though. I think that card's pretty underrated.
Arcane missiles just wrecks, bro.
But still,
Arcade missiles.
Draco. So we've heard from everybody else, but what about you? I think I know what you're gonna play, but
Yeah, I showed D-Money earlier. The other guys, I have a Highlander Demon Hunter list that I like refined myself off of the Firebat one. That was pretty functional. I noticed there were some cards in there that weren't super good for him after watching all of the games. I realized that Soul Cleave is never usually super helpful for him, and neither is that Netherwalker card. The one that's the 2 mana 2/2 that discovers. So I replaced it with an injured Tol'Vir to like get through all of the rogues that are coming in, probably trying to spam wins with Rogue because Rogue looks pretty powerful, and Tol'Vir is pretty good in general for a 2-drop. And then what was the other substitution I made? Oh, and I got rid of the Soul Cleave, the Heal Cleave, and put some twin spells in there for combos with the Altruist, and so you can do hand management with the Outcast more efficiently.
So you basically
Figured.
made it like more of an aggressive kind of deck.
Well, it's not really aggressive when you think about the fact that you don't even run the 1-drop in it that gains the attack every time you swing. I mean, if I had space in it, I probably would throw that one in there next. So it's really kind of a reactive deck. Like, so you use like you have the clear for the 2/2s and then the Chaos Novas and the Zephyrs, and you basically just kind of dwindle down their board and kill all their Demon Hunter nonsense, and then you drop like the Alex and you skull for the cheap cards and stuff. So
Yeah,
should be-
Skull is going to be insane.
Skull, yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, D-Money. Skull, nuts.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be really good if you get like Alex Highlander, but like even if you can run 2 of them, if you're not making a Highlander deck with it, yeah, I can imagine. Like me and Funky were talking a little earlier about our big demon hunter decks, and I think I was making my demon hunter last night, and I think it's actually pretty strong because demon hunter does have a lot of lifesteal cards, so I think they could stay alive and get out these big kind of demons.
If you're not playing the new Xavius card in that deck, you're playing it wrong.
Which card is that?
Xavius?
It was the new card that they turned Illidan
I know.
into.
Oh,
So it was the old Illidan card.
I'm actually not playing that in there.
What?
But that now that you're making me think about it now, you know what I am playing in there though, which I
Honestly,
think
though, it's not bad though because you have the 2 0 mana cost twin spell in there.
that's true. I just don't know how good 2/1s are gonna be, but maybe I don't know. That's interesting. I didn't think about Illidan.
They are demons now, not elementals.
That's true.
You could run them with the
Like, what
the Naga that kills them, and then you do 3 damage to your random opponent, like the Soul Juggler card.
That's true.
It works.
There
with
you
that.
go. Draco's thinking.
You know,
Synergy.
I have a tech card, or not a tech card, but I have an interesting include in my demon hunter, which I don't
Spill
see
it.
in your list here.
Spill it.
Sathrovar.
Sathrovar.
I figure
is a demon.
Sathrovar is a little bit too greedy, and you don't want to pull Sathrovar as a 5/5 with your pit commander, dude.
That's true. But
I thought about him
you
though.
can you can get the dream off with it. You can get him reduced with the guy that reduces your next demon. You can also get it with the if you reduce him along with something else from the skull, then that's pretty insane. You could do some pretty insane combos there. I think it might be a little underrated. I might prove you wrong.
Absolutely. I mean, no doubt. It's definitely busted when it pops off. It's just a matter of like consistency, right?
Yeah.
So we'll just have to see.
You can do the Priestess
Only
of
play
Fury.
testing will tell.
Is that what you want a Sathrovar? Is that the best target? Priestess of Fury or the Pit Commander, right? That's what you want
Those
to hit?
are good targets. Yes, there's multiple good targets. I mean, Pit Commander's good. You also have
The big rush boy that leaves
Yep.
the taunt.
Coilfang Warlord. Yeah, that's really good too.
Oh, one thing I did actually want to mention. So with Sathrovar, that's it's actually kind of relevant too. I believe they just made a change in Hearthstone where if you copy a dormant minion, you actually, when it's awakened, you get a copy of the awakened version of it. Because I think before, like, let's say you were to use Faceless Manipulator on an awakened the Darkness, I
Mhm.
believe it would copy it as the dormant version and not as the awakened version.
Interesting.
Oh.
Okay.
So now
Yeah.
it'll become a copy of the actual awakened version instead
But
of
if
like
you play it from hand, it
from the
goes dormant,
original.
right? Like,
Yeah.
so like Sathrovar gives you a copy of it to your hand, but then if you play it, like assuming it's like
Yeah.
in prison and it would go dormant.
Right. Yep. Then it'd go dormant from your hand. Yeah. Yep.
But what if you get it? So I'm a little confused with dormant in general. So what if you get a dormant minion? What if you evolve into a dormant minion? Is it?
Yeah.
Is starting
I
off as
believe it would
dormant?
evolve into dormant because dormant is always active. Dormant is active first and foremost.
Mhm.
Like no matter like when it comes onto the battlefield. So like
So
if
you
it's
could just
summoned
get
from
a
your
dead
deck, it'll be
card.
summoned dormant. It'll be evolved. I believe it'll be evolved dormant.
So
Understood.
a card like the 12/12, the 4 mana 12/12, it's just gonna be a dead card.
Yeah.
Essentially. if you evolve
It'll be a
into it.
dead space
Yeah.
on your board. Yeah.
And then it's
Cool.
the same thing if you pull it from your deck.
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
That's why I
dormant
don't
as
have
well,
him
yeah.
in my deck at all because I just can't risk it.
Just to prove the validity to this assessment, we can definitely tell that they're using the same mechanics for Dormant as the Darkness because of the fact that they've been editing the way Dormant reacts with the Darkness since the most recent patch came out. because now you can like hand buff the darkness and do a lot more interaction with darkness. So Funky's logic on this is definitely based on the fact that they're changing the way Dormant works, proximity to what we need.
Exactly.
Yep.
Yeah. So dormants will always keep the buffs too. So if you happen to like hand buff something in your hand, like in Demon Hunter, you play the dormant minion. When it awakens, it'll awaken into its buffed self. Whereas before, it would awaken into its original self, not the buffed up version.
Yeah, I think they made it not act like a transform effect. You know what I mean? I think that's what was happening when a minion would go from dormant to existing, is it was kind of functioning in the code as a transform effect, but I think now it's functioning through the memory of the way the card was when you played it.
That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Like Floop.
That's what I think. Right.
Floop is a transform effect. It gets buffed or debuffed, but as soon as you play a new card, it gets reset and transformed into something else. So yeah.
Right.
Oh, so speaking of Dormant too, and the new expansion, one more thing. What do you guys think about Mayev's Shadow Song?
Good.
I think she's awesome.
I think she's going to be insanely OP, especially since we don't have Spellbreaker anymore. But I want to hear you guys' opinions.
I'm going to make her golden.
There you go.
I mean, we talked about her in I think our first podcast. We actually exclusively went over her. But yeah, we all kind of came to the same agreement that she's just really good. You fit her in any deck. She shuts down any card you want for 2 turns, gives you time to like find resources, deal with it, or to come up with a plan, or just to get tempo. Statted good, mana cost is fine. So yeah, it's one of those kind of like you're not sure what to craft, and you really have dust burning in your pocket. She seems pretty safe, but again, definitely want to play with them first.
Easily one of the best cards in the expansion, if not the best card in the expansion.
It's like, would you play a minion that freezes one of your opponent's minions for 2 turns? Hell yeah, you.
And
that would be
interact with it, yes.
And
it's actually kind of like 3 turns, right? Because like when they awaken on their side, they still have to wait to attack until another turn. So it's almost kind of like 3 turns.
Oh my god!
And it's also better because if you freeze a taunt minion, it still has taunt. But if you make a minion dormant, then it's still stuck 3.
Right.
Just eats it.
Can just It's
one thing that not a whole lot of people are talking about too is that you can actually use the dormant effect on one of your own minions as well. So if you have a minion that you want to protect for like a couple turns, or that you want to set up a combo, you can even do that and kind of save some mana on your combo turn by preparing for it on that dormant effect.
And it repeats its effect if it has an awaken too. Like Imprison Anton that deals 10 damage. If you smack that dormant again, then it'll do 10 damage to their board again.
Right.
Awesome. Yeah,
I mean, I don't think you're gonna really be using it on your minions that much, but it can do some cool things. Like maybe if you have like a full board and you want to play around board clear, maybe you could get rid of one of your guys for a bit, have them come back later. I don't know, but I don't think it's
stand by my Doomsayer.
That was crazy. We were thinking about that the other time. What happens if you get like a Doomsayer on your own board from like a faceless lackey, and you make your Doomsayer dormant? Then you're essentially postponing your whole board wipe for 2 turns, which is super weird. Like, why would you want to do that? But it would really be confusing for your opponent to figure out, like, do I like best into this board? Because like he has minions out and he's gonna be chipping at me, but then everything. That would be very.
Wait, so how does that effect work though? Like, does the Doomsayer, does it awaken and then does the effect go off on that same turn that it awakens? Or does it awaken and then go off on the next turn after that?
I don't think we can be sure at this point.
It's a surprise. We we don't know. Our opponent doesn't know. No one knows.
Definitely gonna throw people off if you do that. So
Day 1 deck idea. Here we go.
It'll be super confusing to interact with that. What if it like? But you know what? You definitely can't do. Your Doomsayer definitely cannot attack when it. You know that's not going to be a problem. It definitely cannot attack.
If it awaken, it has to wait till its next turn to attack. You're right. If you wanted to throw an Inner Fire on there and Priest,
Yeah. So can't just go for it. Yeah. That's definitely crazy to think about. I think Maiev, like I don't understand how people rationalize Maiev as not being a incredibly impactful card. Like I've seen a lot of streamers have this like hot take. Maiev isn't actually that good. How is she not good? She doesn't even have a bad stat line. Inevitable tempo. So I'm glad we all agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do we want to jump to some questions here before we end?
I think timing
Yeah.
wise, that would be perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had a question from Dance on Dead Men. So his question was, wait, so is it MMR attached to ranked when you play ranked, or is it your actual ranked? And it's your MMR rank. So you'll have players who are like, let's say Diamond 5 going against people who are Gold 5 because their MMRs are similar. And also D-Money was talking about and Draco how they're Legend rank and they're going against, Diamond 5s as low as Silver, I believe D-Money said. So it's based on MMR. Your rank doesn't necessarily mean anything other than you progressing and unlocking your monthly rewards and a visual guide.
All right.
I have two more, but I don't know if you guys have any.
I got a good one. Mike, have any of these 4 streamers played WoW? Yes.
Yeah, I got
all
that
of us
one.
have.
Yeah.
All of us.
I thought that was funny when everyone just wrote me, but it was
Yeah, we
all
just had a
4
lot of
us.
me's.
I laughed at that too. I'm glad you brought that up.
We all actually understood the comparison, so we're not like Hearthstone posers.
We're all
played
longtime
WoW,
nerds
yeah.
here.
Yeah, I even played
Lifers.
Classic when it came back, and I waited in the queue for like 8.5 hours in the game. So
It's
I'm pretty
probably
hard.
rare that you get 4 people that are Hearthstone streamers that actually also played WoW. So, pat yourselves on the back, guys.
I still play WoW.
Well,
Yeah, that's true.
good, great, just great.
Pat yourself more on
It's
the back
great.
for that, actually.
You're awesome.
I played since vanilla days. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, vanilla warrior right here.
Started in Crusade, so I'm not that cool, but
I started Crusade as well.
I actually
Crusade was
started,
great.
right before Crusade, but yeah. It's actually kind of
There you
funny that
go.
like a lot of us started at the same time too.
Wow, yeah. 2 vanillas and 2 BCs. That's good shit.
that's real.
Oh.
Oh yeah.
I have a pretty good question here. Do you think the devs have an inclination on how people would be using the decks? Like, do they think that people would use Shutterwalk as they did?
They definitely pay people to figure that stuff out, but I don't think it's proven to be entirely successful all the time.
Do they
Right.
pay them enough? That's
So I've got
Apparently not.
information on this.
yeah.
They
So
definitely hire people to do that. That's what Chalky was hired to do, right? Like they hired the guy who was the pro player to come up with the broken interactions before they print things. That's definitely like his job, right?
yeah, so they've got multiple different segments to like creating cards and like designing. So you have like the creative team, you have the art team, then you have the balance team, and then you actually have like the play team. How is it going to look? But they have this system. I don't know what it's called or anything like that, but like there's a system in place where they can run like simulated games, like thousands and hundreds of thousands of them in a short period of time with cards. So they can build these decks auto-generated or built by people like Chalky, and then they can run simulations against other decks in like a vacuum for like, all right, so we have Demon Hunter versus Warlock. We have 150,000 games. We'll let this run for 5 minutes and we'll see the win rate. And then they can modify cards in those decks in the simulation and then run it again. So they can do all of these numbers prior to like getting information from us, because it takes time to extract the info from us. But for them, they can run all of these games hundreds of thousands of times in a vacuum in a very short span. So they have the ability to do it. It's whether or not they're using the right information. It's all about using the right data, right? And getting to an answer and then interpreting what you get. If you don't do that right, you're going to miss something, or you're not going to get to a point.
It's a lot of faith in their AIs, like playing though. Like, you know what I mean? Like the 1,500 games weren't played by, that's like.
But you know the most optimal card because they have the data. They know if this is this person's hand, this is this person's hand. When they play this kills that and gets an advantage. Like they have the data's already there because they already have all the games that we've played. And in a vacuum, the same thing goes by like what is it? It's machine learning. Like against chess players, like once it knows something, it just keeps, you know what I mean? It just keeps learning.
Oh
Like,
yeah,
and the machine learning is
Warshack, you
very,
actually have
very
a very
popular.
good point. I mean, the information's only as good as how we use it, right? I
Yeah,
mean, they have
yeah.
data on everything. I mean, we actually kind of
Yes.
learned in the Doom in the Tomb event. And if you guys remember how powerful Evolved Shaman was, they even admitted, they said that they had the data since like day one, but they waited to act on that data until like a month later, whereas they should have, acted on that data right away. So it's like when anything comes out, it's like they have so much data, as much data as they want on everything. It's just a matter of like how they act and when they act and what they do.
I don't mean to get into this segment of it from like a conceptual thinking purpose, but like from like a person who works in like IT, like so they have all the data, like Warshack was saying, where they're like, okay, they know what the most optimal card is to pick. But in order to like use that data correctly, they have to build an individual engine for each one of these specific variants of data. So like knowing like for like Zephyrs to like look at the cards on the board, there's like a minion with stealth, and like if they select like a flare, they can follow up on the next turn with like a you know what I mean? Like there's like the different things where they can add up all of the thought processes together. They would still need to have like engines that understand like setup, like human think to like fully
So
test all of that stuff.
Yeah, so what it would do is it would simulate 100 games where Zephyrus picked one of each card, right? One of each whatever, and then if it loses, it picks the other one. It knows because it can just keep running the simulation, put itself in the same situation, and just pick a different card and have the game play out exactly the same way. You know what I mean? You can play the same game 300 times, but pick a different card each time.
I think there still is overlap though, from like the human perspective. Like even though they can
Yeah. It won't be
with the data.
perfect, but you can get a lot of great information from that. And yeah, you, like I said, you'll need to understand how to interpret that, and the interpretation of that is the do we balance this card? Is there a problem here? Like, yeah, definitely. But,
and, I just want to throw out the fact that I appreciate the fact that we play a digital card format, so we can do stuff like that. So we can have developers behind the scenes that are running all these programs and stuff like that. So we can have cards like Zephyrus. I think that's pretty cool. So mad respect to all the developers that have to interpret all this data that they're getting.
Super interesting.
I find
about.
it. Yeah, I love this shit. I would like that stuff is so fascinating to me. So
yeah, I never knew any of that. I mean, Zephyrs is one of my favorite cards. Just how it works like that. So
speaking of which, slight suggestion: watch that video that they put on like the launcher for Blizzard, where they talk about the creation of Demon Hunt and all of the evolutions that it went through with like the hero power. Super cool to watch. I don't know if you guys have watched that, but
no,
yeah, they basically, you see them, all the developers like talking through the stages of development of Demon Hunter, and like at one point like it was like attacking twice for 2 mana for 2, and they were like making all the cards like less powerful since the hero power was a little bit front loaded, and then eventually they didn't want to make it 1 mana because that made the whole entire card to the whole class was way more powerful with 1 mana, so they like kind of eventually decided on making the class super powerful by halving the hero power in half. And it's interesting to think about how they came to that. So it's there, it exists. So Demon Hunter development video, really neat.
That's really cool. That's a really cool insight, taking an idea into realization into a whole class.
Yeah, they show like that what Priestess of Fury originally was, and originally like you can see like all the card going through their development stages. Like Priestess of Fury is a 7 mana 6/7, I believe, right? That's deal 6 damage to randomly amongst your opponent characters and base stuff. But originally it was a 6 mana like 4/6 rush lifesteal. That's what it originally. Whoa. So it was a lifesteal rush min. That was what that card started out at until they and you also see them going through the stages where they try to give the control elements to Demon Hunter and build that in there, and you can see them all having like headaches. It's neat. That was the last part of developing of Demon Hunter, was the development of how to make it control eligible too. So that was like the hardest part of it. Neat.
Yeah, I keep seeing that recommended on my YouTube, and I'm like, it's probably not anything good at all. But now you piqued my interest. So
I didn't think it was going to be so interesting when I watched it. I started, I'm like, okay, shit, I gotta go.
Your mic cut out
All right.
right at that.
I was like, I got to go make some popcorn the second I started
Oh,
watching.
there you go.
Nice. All right. Well, do we want to do our wrap up? I think we answered a lot of questions. Unless we had a couple more, I think we hammered them all out, right?
Got all of mine.
I am good.
I think
right.
it's wrap up time. Thank you so much for being our first guest, FunkiMonki. It was a pleasure to have you. If you want to maybe like throw like a link in chat to all your theory craft lists. Oh my god, I can't talk.
Sure, I'll throw a plug in chat. But no, thanks guys for having me as well too. It was a blast to be here. So yeah, I definitely learned a few new things as well too, talking with you guys today. So
do it again.
Oh, absolutely.
It was a
All right.
pleasure.
Yeah.
But yeah,
sure,
so also
sure.
too, if you guys want some theorycraft ideas, I did make a video on some decks too, and I know DMoney has a lot of ideas. Warshack, I mean, gosh, all you guys have some great ideas too. But I've
never come up with any ideas ever. What are you talking about?
But thanks to everyone in chat for being here. And we should have this this episode posted on YouTube probably around Wednesday this week if you guys want to check it out again. Thanks for being here, everyone.
Yeah, have a good rest of your weekend, guys.
My bot just shot you.
Stay excited and during this quarantine, hope you guys are doing some fun stuff at home.
Yeah, we've gotten so close. We're so close to the new freaking set here. Oh my gosh.
Hey, at least we all should have plenty of time to play this new expansion since we're all quarantined, right?
Yeah. So thank God Shutterwork's gone. Yeah. Nobody's gonna come up with any more genius combos in a day there. All right.
If you your links got shot down because my bot is very sentimental about things here. All right, thank you, Deku.
There it is.
I was gonna say, can somebody post a link or can you send it to me and I'll post it? All right, I can permit you. All right, awesome. There you go, boys. Thank you, Deku.
So are you gonna be streaming after this Warshack?
No, I've got more stuff to do with the house and more housekeeping. As you guys can see, the background has changed. I don't have my green screen because this is a new room and there's no room for the green screen. So yeah, we're still in the midst of moving. So I'm gonna do that. I'll stream later though, later tonight.
Dude, that's a cool background though. That checkered background behind you, Warshack.
Yeah.
Well, it's what do you call it? The soundproofing, right? So like in front of me, the whole wall is soundproofing, and then behind me, I figured because I'm talking and it's gonna bounce, it doesn't need to be like a full black wall. So I figured the checkerboard is, I don't know, makes it look kind of interesting, I suppose.
I like it.
Looks cool.
It's retro. Yeah.
Italian.
Italian. All right. I guess we'll wrap up here. Yeah. Peace out. Thanks for tuning in, guys.
Yeah. Thanks. See you.